morning, everybody. Happy Friday to you. You have made it. Congratulations. I'm Rob Evans. Welcome to Daybreak Plus. We're breaking down all the news you may have missed overnight, and then we're digging deep into what matters to you. We're digging deep into money coming up later. But first, we're going to talk about politics, right? A live look at the Texas state capitol, and the House has passed Senate Bill 1 to the relief of those in attendance. Take a listen to how exciting it was.
There being 118 ayes and 26 nays, SB 1 is passed to third reading.
Yeah, a soft round of applause. Why? Well, because it was around 3 o'clock this morning when the House finally passed that bill. Discussion on the budget went on for more than 13 hours. They made more than 50 amendments to the Senate's version. Here's what it includes, though. It's about $337 billion budget for 2 years. That's a third of $1 trillion. $75.6 billion will go toward state funding for public schools, $51 billion toward property tax cuts, $6.5 billion for border security. Now, the budget, by the way, it's the one thing that lawmakers actually have to pass this session. But it's not over yet. Conference committees will hammer out and negotiate the amendments behind closed doors. Then each full chamber will have to approve final versions before eventually it does go to the governor's desk. It is now 7:02. In a little more than a week, Williamson County will have a new county judge. They've tapped former Liberty Hill ISD Superintendent Stephen Snell for the role. That's Stephen right there. We sat down with him about his transition into the position. This all happened after former Williamson County Judge Bill Gravel resigned last month to take a position with the Trump administration. After getting sworn into office back in 2019, Gravel was reelected in 2022. He was supposed to serve until 2026, but again, Snell stepping in now. He's stepping down from his role as Liberty Hill ISD superintendent to take over until at least the next general election, which is 2026. Now, Snell previously worked as superintendent for Spring Hill ISD, assistant superintendent for Hutto ISD, and he says his experience leading one of the fastest growing school districts in Texas will help him manage all the growth in Williamson County. Another skill he says it will help is his connections. Take a listen.
Yes, I feel relationships are my strength. Listening, finding out what people need, finding out what resources the county has to help serve the community and those needs.
Now, one of his priorities as Williamson County Judge is making sure the county grows efficiently and does not create gridlock. They got to plan far ahead, and it's really not easy to do. 3 big areas he wants to work on: safety, roads, and partnerships by bringing more businesses to the county. Of course, you saw what Gravel did, former Judge Gravel, with bringing in Samsung and their multi-billion-dollar complexes there. Snell, again, will serve as the judge until the next election in 2026. And Liberty Hill ISD says they're going to meet this month to figure out the timeline and a process of choosing a new superintendent. You know, we normally don't report crime here on Daybreak Plus. We try and keep it upbeat and informative, but this one is really, really important to your family. It could keep them safe. Leander police are asking for your help finding the person accused of an attempted kidnapping earlier this month. So it happened April 2nd at the Lakeline Apartments on Lakeline Boulevard. This is near New Hope Drive. This is just north of New Hope Drive. Police are asking you, hey, if you live in the area, please check your surveillance video, check your Ring camera, check whatever you've got. They're looking for a white man, about 5'9", skinny, short, curly hair, black, long sleeve shirt, light colored shorts. At the time, he was not wearing shoes. Now, a man matching that same description was also reported to police the night before the attempted kidnapping. So if you have any footage to share, please contact Leander Police. Well, the trade war between the U.S. and China is heating up. Overnight, China announced an increase on tariffs on U.S. goods from 84% to 125%. It's about to get ugly for our pocketbook. As ABC's Perry Russell reports, one estimate shows tariffs are going to cost the average American family nearly $5,000 a year. Do you have that much extra money? Let's take a look.
This morning, President Trump's trade war with China intensifying. The White House clarifying China is facing a tariff of 145%, not the 125% number Trump announced Wednesday.
We'll seek what happens with China. We would love to be able to work a deal.
China this morning calling for the U.S. to return to fair dialogue, saying pressure and threats will not resolve the dispute. China now going after Hollywood, saying they will limit the number of American movies shown in their country. The stock market fluctuating with tariff uncertainty as Americans worry about rising prices. The budget lab at Yale estimates tariffs will cost households an average of $4,700 a year, and shoppers are starting to see the impact.
80 to 90% of all toys are manufactured overseas, so we're going to definitely see increases.
One person also spotting a tariff surcharge as they were ordering online.
There'll be a transition cost and transition problems, but in the end, it's going to be a beautiful thing.
Trump issuing a 90-day tariff pause on Wednesday, ordering a baseline tariff of 10%. He says if deals are not made when those 90 days are up, the higher tariffs will go back into effect.
Go back to the numbers that you announced last week.
I think so.
You wouldn't extend the pause?
Yeah, we'll have to see what happens at that time.
Experts say it's that lack of clarity from Trump that's causing the stock market to fluctuate. His administration says they have offers from 15 countries to make deals on tariffs. None have been officially announced. Perry Russum, ABC News, Washington.
So how's this going to affect you? Well, I just looked it up. The iPhone, in case you're looking for the newest one, well, about 90% of iPhones are made and assembled in China. So we will continue to follow that for you. But for now, though, it's a 7:07. Let's get a look at weather and traffic. Grace and Hannah, starting with Grace, give us some good news.
Rob, get ready for
sorry,
a
I
rude
apologize.
awakening.
Jordan.
It ain't Grace Thornton, my man. And sorry I kept you under a rock there a little bit. But anyways, here's a live look outside. That's the all-time peninsula on Lake Travis. And we've got a boater sitting right there on the shoreline of the all-time peninsula. I mean, that's a real one out there this morning, and it's making me giggle here in the studio. But right now, lower 60s for most of us. We've got mid-50s, though, in places like LaGrange. The allergy count, if your nose is itching right now, it's probably either oak, grass, or ash, because they all are in the high count. But we've also got cedar and mold in the medium. And you can find this allergy count each and every day on KVUE.com and the KVUE app. We'll be getting to the mid to upper 80s for highs today, light northeasterly breeze, which means for the Round Rock Express game later on this evening, that wind is going to be blowing in from right. So what that's going to mean is that if you hit a ball towards right field, there's a good chance it may not leave the yard. So something to watch there. For tonight, we'll be looking at temperatures in the mid-50s with winds coming out of the north, then eventually the south as we get that southerly flow back. And as we take a look at tomorrow's highs, pretty similar to today, getting to the upper 80s here in town. But we could have our 8th 90-degree day on Sunday. I have a high officially of around 91. But as we look at our upper level map, we do see that ridge of high pressure making its way closer to Central Texas by the time we get to your Sunday afternoon. And with all of that, we are going to likely stay dry over the next 6 to 10 days. So not only is it a next 7-day problem, but a past the 7-day problem. We are going to get muggier as we head through your Monday and then eventually the middle portions of next week. But the rain chances are going to be actually non-existent over the next week with temperatures in the 80s and 90s throughout. And with that, we've got the one and only Miss Hannah Rucker. Hopefully the roads fare better than these rain chances.
Ooh, I'll tell you, we are actually kind of ramping up over here. We have 5 different crashes across the map. We are seeing some relief, though, if you're coming in from North Austin. That crash at Runberg Lane cleared up. But right now, we are taking a live look heading out towards the Slaughter area. We're seeing some slowdowns there approaching where I-35 meets with 71 in South Austin. So a couple miles of this slow crawl, no full closures at this time. But look at this. It's already lighting up out there as everyone's kind of eager to get to the weekend. So let's take a look around town. That crash at Runberg, like I said, coming in from North Austin is cleared up. So I'm hoping we can feel some relief here in a minute. Everyone's kind of getting back up and running after that closure really slowed things down. And then checking in South Austin. So there's that incident I'm talking about. It really just has one lane blocked, I-35 northbound at 71. And then our typical slowdowns behind that with just the morning rush. We also do have a new incident off of South Congress and Meadowlee Drive causing some slowdowns for us there. So kind of already feeling a lot of activity in South Austin. Heading out now to East Austin now. We also have an incident off of Springdale Road and then another incident at MLK and FM 969, not impacting travel on 183 or 290 at this time if you're coming in. As you can see, though, Round Rock, we're definitely slowing down following that crash a little bit earlier. 26 miles per hour traveling southbound on I-35. And then, as always, kind of slowing down in Buda quite a bit at 28 miles per hour. Here's your drive time. Speaking of, 33 minutes if you are traveling in from Buda. And then, of course, a little bit of extra time from Kyle and San Marcos and all of that. And then 35 minutes if you are coming in from Round Rock following that crash at Runberg Lane. But like I said, fingers crossed, I think we can get some time shaved off there now that they have cleared that incident at Runberg. Mopac, we've just been having a really great week here. I hope once again I didn't jinx it, but still under 15 minutes across the board as long as you can get to Lewis Henna and downtown and vice versa. Depends which way you're going, but looking really clear so far in the main lanes there. And Loop 360, good morning to that beautiful Pennybacker. It's going to be a nice sunny day out there. Hot one though, under 10 minutes for you there. 183, not too bad right now either. If you're traveling from Lewis Henna to Loop 360, you got a beautiful 6-minute shot, cruising at 65 miles per hour, and heading northbound on 183, stretching from Ben White to I-35, also looking really good as we are kicking off our Friday morning here in the beautiful capital city. Should be a great weekend, Rob. We made it.
All right, Hannah and Jordan, thank you very much. So it's been over a month since we sprang forward to daylight saving time, but there's a new push in Congress to lock the clocks, stopping our spring and fall tradition altogether. ABC's Andrew Dimbert has more.
A nod to Cher's iconic 1989 hit, as lawmakers try to find a way to permanently turn back the clock on changing our clocks.
I am somewhat disappointed in your excellent remarks that we did not get you belting out the chorus of Cher's If We Could Turn Back Time.
I told you, it is something that peps us up. We need the energy.
Yesterday, a Senate committee tackled the daylight saving debate with bipartisan support for ending the twice-a-year clock change.
The American people are sick and tired of changing their clocks twice a year. It's confusing, unnecessary, and completely outdated.
Daylight saving time begins in March when clocks spring forward an hour. It ends in November when the clocks fall back an hour, returning to standard time. The issue for lawmakers: which do you stay on? Standard time would mean darker mornings in the winter. Atlanta wouldn't see the sunrise until almost 9 a.m. in January. Staying on daylight saving time would mean sunlight later, which doctors say can disrupt sleep, leading to health issues.
Peer-reviewed studies consistently show that heart attacks go up, strokes, car crashes, even miscarriages spike in those days following the spring switch. A study from the University of Vienna found deaths overall just increased by 3% in those couple of days after the change.
President Trump has also suggested stopping the clock changing, calling it inconvenient and costly, but some are in favor of the biannual change.
Changing the clocks twice a year is relevant to road safety first and foremost because it affects the amount of ambient light during peak times for travel. We know that darkness is associated with increased risk of fatal crashes.
Andrew Dimbert, ABC News, New York.
And the deadline to file your taxes is now 4 days away. Nobody wants to owe the government a big tax bill, right? ABC's Alexis Christoforous shows us how to make sure that you take advantage of any credits and deductions maybe you didn't even know were out there. Take a look.
Tax credits and deductions are your friends when filing your tax return. When deciding whether to itemize this year, note that the standard deduction amount increased for 2024.
Most people are finding that because the standard deduction is so high that they don't need to file an itemized return. But if you believe that the itemized deductions that you're going to claim are bigger than that standard deduction, then please by all means do so.
Low-income Americans may be eligible for the Earned Income Tax Credit. That's a tax break for those who made less than $45,000 last year.
The Earned Income Tax Credit is a refundable credit that is in addition to whatever your refund is, and it can be several $1,000s, depending if you have 3 kids or more and don't make a lot of money.
Check if you qualify on the IRS website.
Every year we have a too large of a percentage of people who are qualified for it, but they don't claim it. And if you don't claim it, you don't get it.
If you have kids age 17 or younger, you may qualify for the Child Tax Credit.
It's $2,000 per child it makes a big difference. And if you find yourself in a situation where you're splitting custody of the child, just make sure that you are the only one that is claiming them, and that you have in fact provided the majority of their support throughout the year, the 6 or more months.
If you have a dependent over 17 years old, check out the dependent credit, which is $500. There are many other tax advantages for students, homeowners, and more, so be sure to take advantage of any benefits that apply to you that will lower your tax bill. Alexis Christoforous, ABC News, New York.
There you go. Just because you do the standard deduction every other year doesn't mean that this year is the year you should do it again. Double check. Talk to an accountant perhaps. You got a handful of days left. Well, they say that too much of a good thing can be a bad thing, right? But what about when it comes to that stuff there, or actually that stuff there? Coffee. FDA guidelines recommend keeping that coffee, what you're drinking right now, keep that intake to less than 400 milligrams a day. What does that mean? I get it, 400 milligrams. Well, it's about 32 ounces of coffee or soda or energy drinks a day, depending on, of course, which energy drink and soda you're talking about. Now, 400 milligrams is the recommended amount, but some people have a much lower threshold. When a person consumes too much caffeine, it can cause a headache, make you feel jittery, anxious. It can increase your heart rate. It can also disrupt your sleep. Here's a dietitian, Julia Zimpano.
If you're looking to scale back on caffeine, I would do it slowly. Slowly scale back versus going cold turkey, because you may experience headaches or unpleasant side effects from completely eliminating caffeine.
Yeah, caffeine is by definition a drug, so you got to, go off it slowly. If you do enjoy drinking warm beverages and don't think maybe coffee's for you, you can also drink warm tea. Just again, make sure you check the caffeine content. Every single drink is different. And now to a programming note for later tonight. The San Antonio Spurs are going to be live on KVUE one last time this season. They're set to take on the Phoenix Suns at 9 p.m. And because of that, KVUE News will be on earlier than usual. So at 8 p.m., our KVUE sports team will have a preview of the NFL draft. A lot of UT players are going to be going in the draft. Then at 8:30, we're going to have the full newscast. And we're leaving you this morning with something to talk about. I don't know how to say it gently, so I'm just going to go ahead and say it. NASA is offering a lot of money, $3 million to you, to anybody who can figure out an issue they're having, what to do with human waste in space. Like number 2, how do you recycle it? The space agency's Lunar Recycled Challenge, they got a name for it, calls on people to propose a technology means of recycling astronauts' feces, urine, and vomit on the moon and during long-haul space flights. This is not a joke. You got to think about this thing. What are you going to do with it, right? NASA right now reviewing the first round of proposals to decide which ones will move on to the next phase. The chosen technology will be put on the future space missions, including maybe long-term outposts on the moon. There are 96 bags right now, by the way, of human waste that are actually on the moon from Apollo. Did you know that? I did not know that. I don't know if anyone knew that. 96 bags of human waste right now on the moon. All right, I'm sorry. Hope you weren't eating breakfast. That's it for Daybreak Plus, everybody. Let us know what you want to talk about. Message me at 512-459-9442. You got to text it. Calling it doesn't work. 512-459-9442. You can also message me if you want on social media at Rob Evans TV. It's on Insta, Facebook, or X. And stick around because Daybreak continues right here on KVUE Plus. Make sure you go out there and tell everybody you know how many bags of human waste are on the moon. Goodbye, everybody.